Hello, adventurer! Have you come to the Grand Archive for careful study? Yes? Well, you're in the right place for knowledge on the world of Cambria and beyond. Come with me, and we'll get you started.
Welcome to Careful Study. My name is David Morris, and I'm joined today by back-to-back regional top 8 champions, Stevo and Corbin. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's propelling your wins today.
It's got nothing to do. It's everything to do with the deck.
It's not skill.
And a little bit of matchup luck.
Matchup luck. Yeah. Omnidex is on your side.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Virginia. They're not the. I could come in with a steaming pile of.
Are you throwing shade at Virginia?
And maybe.
Oh, they're gonna.
Steaming pile of birds.
You didn't play the birds. I'll tell you that much.
That's because no one else wanted to play the birds.
You know what? Given my performance, I should have played the birds. So you have been pretty excited to play Luxem again. I know it's one of your favorite decks, Steve. So why don't you and Corbin go over the deck list itself and what brought you to the choices that you made in this list?
Okay, I'm like a nerd that's like ready to geek out about his fantasies and fanfics or whatever the heck's going on here. So we got to start with the meta, right?
All right.
So the meta's in a really good spot for Luxem. Why is the meta in a really good spot for Luxem? Not even just Wind Luxem, but just Luxem in general. Slimes are gone.
Hallelujah.
For now.
Yeah, for now. Slimes are gone, and Nico/Watermill is not as common as it once was. Mostly Nico. Nico used to give Luxem at least a harder matchup, but Slimes just completely demolished Luxem. So those two decks being gone kind of leads or give Luxem breath again. So that's why it can exist. Let's be very clear about that. But when Slimes come back, this deck's going to struggle again. But for the time being, that's why Luxem's like in a good spot. Obviously, the other reason for it is fractals. Everybody was still big on fractals, and any wind deck can play Scatter Essence 3 of and just kind of laugh. So that's kind of why the deck's good. As far as the material deck goes, there's a lot of similarities with the deck and the material deck that share with Tristan. Tristan had a little bit of I don't know, maybe Corbin can tell me this if it's wrong. I think Tristan had a little bit of a better time against Slimes because Shadow Strike existed, but maybe I'm wrong
Correct,
there.
yeah. Okay. Tristan's kit, just in general, with the extra stifling traps, because we're not as maxed out on them.
Mm-hmm.
So just that, and yeah, Shadow Strike, just being able to blow them up, and
they ran Zephyrs too. Like their late game package left them more room for an earlier game aggression with black market brokers and whatnot.
Yep, and the Zephyrs were important into Slimes as well because of Covenant of Thorns. So they go for Covenant to stop your Shadow Strike, and you just Zephyr whatever they try to attach it to.
Yeah. So there's a lot of similarities between this list or deck type and Tristan. But the general core concept is similar to Tristan's, that you're kind of a mid-rangey deck, but with a different endgame package. Obviously, Tristan's endgame package is she goes to level 3, she gets the 2 tokens, she gets the Shadow's Claw or whatever, and then she starts swinging for 1 plus 2 for each clone that swings with it. And eventually, you're just going to get Shadow Striked. Luxem's endgame is obviously the Luxem engine. You get recovery, you get constant, persistent damage. You get access to really, really good cards like Striking Illuminance and Excalibur. And your method of winning may take a little bit longer, but it fares better into a wider variety of the current field. So you're going to see a lot of similarities between there. But as far as the material deck goes, pretty similar. You get the Assassin's Ripper, GCR number 2, which is backup charger, Blinding Orb, which I don't think Tristan runs, but I think they should, because I think Blinding Orb is like super slept on right now. Card's crazy. Card's been crazy. And then just your standard suite of protections, safeguard, tariff, nullifying, honestly, whatever protections you want. In this list, we chose to run Mercblade. I think this was a Corbin decision, or whatever Corbin got at least the core of this list from before we tweaked it. Mercblade is crazy. Being able to just use your prep counter to be 1 extra damage that can help you fight against allies, because now when you play your Sadie and you need to clear a 2 health ally, well, Mercblade forces your opponent to play a card to protect their ally at that point, which that is invaluable. So that's the material deck. It's pretty standard. There's no real quote unquote text or anything like that. It's kind of a universal thing. I mean, we're at the point in the game where things like Safeguard, Tariff Ring, Nullifying, Mirror, End Lantern, Censor, all of these cards just have to be included one way or the other. Or you have to just make a conscious effort to cut them and just say, you know what, I'm not going to play against X today, and just hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think in the concept of like flex spots, I think Nullifying Lantern is probably the one that can most easily be changed here. That was a call we made specifically for Genbu. Like Poison Dagger is something that a lot of other Windxanders opt for in that slot, but I've never felt the need to utilize Poison Dagger, and I feel like Lantern is just a really good call, especially with Philo now creeping into the meta.
I will also say that in the northeast region of the U.S., Genbu himself is actually not widely played, I would like to say. And in general, our meta is actually pretty Shenju hostile. And there's a lot of people bringing cards that pretty much deal with any Shenju that come out there.
Yeah, it turns out Ensnaring Fumes is a hell of a card.
And it seems to fit into every win deck.
Yeah, crazy.
Mm.
I'll said it before, I'll say it again. I think Genbu's similar to Nico. For whatever reason, people just don't want to play it. Whether it's just because it's unfun. Like, maybe, I wonder if people really just hate mill in general, because when you play mill, it feels like crap when you don't mill proper. And then when you play your opponent, they just mill the nuts. It just makes you want to play the deck. I wonder if it's like the grass is always greener kind of situation.
I can tell you I've had those feelings. When you mill bad, it feels real bad.
Yep. So that's the material deck. Nothing really to write home about. There's no like special sauce or anything like that. Honestly, you could play whatever you want in a couple spots. Sideboard's also always available. So on to the main board. The main board is where did you get this, Corbin, by the way? Because you gave me the core of the list, and then we just started tweaking it.
Yeah, so this started as EMP's list. I think I originally built it from his Seattle list and then revised it when he topped SEA Nats.
Mm-hmm.
And this has just been my pet deck throughout the format so far. And I've just been tweaking it to counter what we see at locals more. That was why Lantern made it in. I struggled into Genbu, so that's why I removed the Poison Dagger. And just little changes like that throughout the season that ultimately turned this list into what it is. I think one of the biggest changes was before we headed into Virginia, Burst was still pretty prevalent because we didn't have Clarent yet. So adding Mystic Purifiers and upping the ASIM Protectors is probably one of the biggest changes. And I think the Stifling Traps as well. I don't think those were main. I think that was a steep decision to put Stifling Traps main.
Yeah, Stifle's good. Stifle good into aggro. Stifle good into Zhang. Yeah, it's good.
I mean, that is another like local meta thing where we saw a huge drop off in burst decks on this side of the coast, whereas the West Coast still had a ton of burst.
I never actually followed the West Coast meta. Is it still that many?
The regional that happened the same time as the Banish Zone, I believe it was the second most played. If I'm remembering correctly.
Oh, you're right. I remember seeing that infographic. Yeah. Meanwhile, on our side, it was like abysmal, wasn't it?
I think it was like fourth or something.
Good God.
Yeah, it was low, but we had half the field was wind.
Yeah. Our area really loves allies.
Yep.
We have some of the best allies players too.
Yeah. So it's good. Always gives you practice. So whenever they come back, you never feel like you're out of the game against them because you're like, I remember playing against this. So as far as the main board goes, EMP's probably just rolling in his chair right now if he's watching or listening to this because we're at 62 cards main. That was also a Steve decision. We started with 60.
So actually, EMP's list was 62 cards. I had cut it down to 61. We made it back up to 62.
I'm still saying it's a Steve decision. I didn't know that his was 62. I respect the man more now. Corbin sent a list that had 60, and then I think we first did this in Virginia, and I upped it to 61, or Corbin did, I guess. We played it with 61, and then I looked at Corbin, and I was like, wow, how about we just go to 62? So
the 62 was you advocating for the third Scout the Lands.
yes, that's right. Yes, because Scout the Land is a really good card. So we played 62 cards. But main
Steve,
deck.
do you want to talk about Sadie for a little bit?
We'll get there.
Because that led to some of these decisions too.
Kind of. The main deck pretty. I think we're getting to the point where people are starting to respect and understand ratios more. In this deck, you don't need 4 dungeon guides. 3 dungeon guides is enough in this deck. 3 in caps are enough. You could side the 4th. In cap is still a crazy card. It's just in today's current meta, like what are you in capping that really matters? Maybe a blazing throw, maybe a creative shock, ascension, but a lot of cards in the format right now are either skills that don't what is it? Not skills. They're non-actions. They're like attack cards or allies. Like there's a lot of powerful effects that aren't negatable within cap. At least right now, as people lean off of burst. Obviously, more burst, you want to put the 4th one in. There's 3 Mystic Purifiers and 3 Scatter Essences. Those were obvious tech cards against fractals. But again, it's all ratios. 3 Sadie. I ran 3 Sadie because I had 3 Sadie. I had to borrow a 3rd Sadie. I didn't have 4. Which led me to running 3 Scout the Land or 2 Scout the Land, and I loved the card, so we upped it to 3. 3 Slice and Dice, 2 Turbocharge, because you want to see at least 1. And with this deck, you're cycling through your cards, decently enough that you should see 1 of them. And then drawing a dead card later on isn't the end of the world, because once you hit level 3 and you're doing the Luxem engine, really most of your cards at that point don't matter. You're just waiting out so you can kill with Light Weavers or something like that. 3 Asen, again, it's a ratio call, and Snaring Fumes, that was put at a ratios. Like all of these cards are pretty ratios based on the meta and environment that you're in. But when you get to the cards like Fairy Whispers, Reclaim, Surveil the Winds, cards like those should be like mandatory 4-ofs, like Windmill Engineer, same thing. These are cards that are pretty much almost always going to be 4-ofs. So a lot of decks are starting to adopt this kind of style. But that's currently where our list fell out at. 3 Sirokkos, 2 Stifle Traps, 3 Veilings, and then the 4/4 Luxem package. Because if you're not running 4 Light Weavers and 4 Luxem Sights, you're crazy and you shouldn't be playing the deck.
Well, I think what's interesting to me is versus previous Luxem decks that were played in past seasons, there's a lot less Luxem in this deck.
Yes, because this deck you do not need to turbo to 3, and I think that's the biggest mistake everyone thinks of when they see this deck. They're like, oh, I could just go to level 3 and then I'll just heal and everything and I'll play Luxem. It's like, no, you're not playing Luxem. You're playing Wind Assassin with a Luxem endgame. It's the same with Tristan. You're playing Tristan with a Tristan endgame. It's just her name is Xander and she has Luxem cards. That's the difference. So there's a big difference between hitting level 3 with Xander and then taking 5 more turns to kill your opponent than if you hit level 3 with Tristan and then you just go Shadow Strike for 8 right away, where you bring out the Shadow's Claw and start chipping away at them.
Have you won games before hitting level 3?
Oh, as Windxander?
Yeah.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Are you kidding me? Slice and Dice is a crazy card. The amount of times I've played against opponents and I'm sitting there like without even Assassin's Ripper, just staring at my Slice and Dice, like, if I materialize Mercblade right now, I could do 10 damage with a single card that costs 2. Yeah, that seems fair. Like, just put that in perspective. That's almost half of a level 3 champion's health total.
I mean, it seems good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, especially when we're in this ally format where most of the decks aren't going past level 1. Like you're just trying to hit like 20 if they're a warrior, and then some of the other decks like 19. So like that's half their health with one card. And with very little setup to do, because you get the prep counter on level 1, and then if you haven't seen a survey, you can like you probably don't have assassin actions in your graveyard, and you're going to get 2 prep counters off the level 2. So Slice and Dice is already ready to go.
I think that's one of the big differences, at least between the lineage choices, is Xander does get the 2 preps at level 2 and the ability to go like add a card, whereas Tristan, you kind of need to get your prep counters. Like that's why she runs boots, because she needs to get prep counters, and she's like, if you look at the lists, I think the only prep counter generation difference between the main list here and a Tristan list is Black Market Broker. Everything else is the same stuff that Tristan would be using. So most Tristans use the boots to get their 4 prep counters for level 2. This deck, you don't care. You don't need that. Your level 2 just does its own thing.
And then the benefit of not being Tristan as well is because you aren't as reliant on those 4 prep counters, you can use your prep counters for other things a little bit more freely, like Stifling Trap, Ensnaring Fumes, and Merkblade all have additional activation costs with using the prep counters. Where if you were Tristan, it's quite a heavy cost to use those because you're losing the draws at level 2, and you're not going to be able to like use them for your Shadow Strikes later.
Yep. You want to go into the sideboard a little bit?
Yeah. So the sideboard is, as always, just kind of built for whatever you need it for. The idea with this sideboard was we kept farting around with putting more Luxem cards in there for more gas at the level 3. Because, again, it does take like 5 turns to kill your opponent when you hit level 3, unless you have Slice and Dice. So the idea was originally go with Gleaming Cuts and, standard Luxem stuff. The more I thought about it, the more I really could care less about Gleaming Cuts, because Gleaming Cuts, you're playing a deck that when you hit level 3, you already have like 10 influence anyway. So who cares about Gleaming Cut? So I think I ran it for VA and PA regionals, but I decided to cut it after that because it really just felt like crap. Like Uncover the Plot is way better. Uncover the Plot gives you immediate value when you play it when you hit level 3. It's not a +1 because Gleaming Cut loses itself to draw 2. So really, you're only going +1. I mean, that's like a really, really crappy Crux site, in my opinion. So we decided to go with 3 Uncover the Plot, 1 or 2 Striking Illuminance, and then maybe 2 to 3 Excalibur. Mostly because there's always something that you can kill with Excalibur, and the idea is when you hit level 3, you just want more. You want more good stuff. But you only bring those in against the decks that you can bring them in, and decks that don't really matter. So, like for example, if you're not playing against Fractals, I'm siding in 6 Luxem cards in place of Scatter Essence and Mystic Purifiers. The other options we had for Regalia was Censor. This was my fear of Gembu, which was misplaced because no one wants to play Gembu, even though I think it's a very terrifying deck. And Art of War, which was there for the ally matchup because it's really funny playing Art of War and then playing Ensnaring Fumes. So they can never really hit you unless they play the horse. And even if they play the horse, then you just play Stifle Trap. So those 2 Regalia items, like I would pull Censor in a heartbeat at this point since no one wants to play Gembu. And then lastly, the last 3 cards was just the 4th in cap and then 2 Cry for Helps because Philo, also Gembu. And then what was it? Philo,
Tristan.
Shadow Strike. Tristan, yeah. So
Now,
that's kind of the choices.
Yeah, so Corbin, did you play the exact same list or did you have some personal tweaks?
My personal tweak was that I own 4 Sadie, so I had the 4th Sadie in there.
Bro, you also own 4 Ensnare. I was borrowing all of your Ensnaring Fumes.
That's right. I owned 8 Ensnaring Fumes because 4 of them are in my list and 4 of them are in yours.
Oh my god, thank you.
So I also just looking at the meta, I didn't think the 4th in cap was necessary, so I had my 2nd Stifle in place of the in cap. But aside from that, I think our lists were identical.
Okay, so basically, if you're not a pauper like Steve, you have all the Sadies.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
I'm poor.
Understood.
I'm poor boy struggling over here.
Yeah. So I
I
know
think
that.
the other problem that added to that was everyone in our group was playing some sort of assassin this weekend, so no one had a spare Sadie.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
no.
good point. The borrowing cards chat was literally everyone asking, "Does anyone have ensnaring fumes? Does anyone have Sadies?"
I lent my four Sadies to Luis because I was not playing.
Yeah, I think Dakota got 3 from Chris from New Jersey.
He might have, yeah.
Word.
So I know that since you won with this in VA, Steve, I know that you've been getting a lot of messages from people. What are some of the most common questions you've been getting about this deck?
How do you play it? I'm not kidding. The question
That's it. Just how to play.
Yeah, because like people like I think I remember one night just sitting in a call with a couple of people, like the main deck guys or maybe our local crew. I forget which. And literally like just in an hour, I had 3 different people DM me asking me my thoughts on like why there's extra Luxem in there. You know, how do I pilot this deck? Like I'm running into these issues of like I don't really know what to do. It was never I don't want to say it was never, but a lot of it was just people just being lost. Like they just genuinely did not know how to do anything. And it's a fair question because this deck is not a very easy deck to pilot. It's not straightforward. Like there's games where you want to stay level 1 the entire game, and then there's games where you want to turbo to 3 as fast as you can. It literally just hinges on what the current game state is, what you're playing against, you know, what cards you have in hand. There's so many factors that you can't like I can't sit here and tell you everything and how to play it right. Like I would need
I
to.
think that also boils down to Xander being such a toolbox, like having such a toolbox kit. Like,
Yep.
everything in the like material deck is there for a reason, and your material deck is a toolbox that you have access to every turn. And I think this is one of those decks too, where knowing what to materialize and when to materialize it is a big factor in playing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a difficult thing to play. Now that I think about it, I honestly have flashbacks from the 3v3 Worlds Ascent last year when Matt decided to sleep in, so we needed an erupting player, and we got Tej. And Tej was like, "I've never played erupting, but it can't be that hard." And I'm like, "Okay, bud." So I'm sitting next to Tej, and he's trying to play erupting, and he's literally every 5 minutes like asking me, "What should I do here?" And I have to sit there and tell him like, unless I play this entire game for you, I cannot answer this question simply. Like that's how I feel trying to explain people Wind Luxem. Unless I'm right there playing this deck with you, I can't sit here and explain, you know, a single decision.
I mean, do you have any rules of thumb for like how you approach a match versus a particular champion, or is it really just that variable depending on the board state at all times?
I mean, core fundamentals. I mean, like if I'm not playing against fractals, I could give less of a crap about Scatter Essence and Mystic Purifier. But other than that, like the core fundamentals of just playing the game. I mean, you have to keep in mind your value. You're playing wins, so Windmill Engineers, Reclaims. When is a good time to go hands down to get max value out of cards in your hand? Like let's say you've got 4 cards in hand. One of them's an in cap and one of them's a turbocharge, and you have a power cell. Do you go hands down to play the turbocharge? Well, it depends on the game state. Like those are the kinds of questions that I can't answer, but that would be a fundamentals that if you understood how to or when to do that, it wouldn't matter if it's Wind Luxem or any deck, you would know when to play that card.
Well, I think we can go and actually show some gameplay that you recorded earlier this week during some testing, so we can see some of those decisions that you made while you play. Audio listeners, this is where you're going to see this end right now, and you're going to go to YouTube, and you're going to watch the rest of this. If you're already watching on YouTube, congratulations! It's about to start. So let's get that game started up. So this game here is the deck that we just went over, and You are playing against Taylor from main deck, and what is he on?
Oh, Philo.
He's on Philo. Is any particular list, one that won recently, or?
I think Corbin gave him a list, right?
No, I think this was the second place one from Ascent.
Second place.
Or-
Okay.
Yeah, second place.
Oh, the other thing to keep in mind is this: both these games are post sideboard, and I do remember. So you can pause it here because I just drew the 7 cards. I do remember some mistakes that I had made. Just hindsight 2020. It's been a while since I've played against Philo, but also this deck I've never played into Philo. I don't think Art of War matters. I would have rather had GCR. And I will say, game 1 I draw horrendously bad. Game 1 is not pretty. Game 2 is a lot closer, and I think there's a minor mistake that kept me from winning the game, but we can go over that later. So opening hand, playing against Philo at the very start, this hand does not look that bad. The problem is the next 10 cards in my deck are complete abysmal crap. So in this position, it looks to me best to just pass, which I don't know what I did, but future Steve watching past Steve would probably say just pass. You want to hold everything up. Surveil's not fast speed, but you don't care. You want to kind of gauge what you're against, and how the Philo player acts. Maybe you need to stifle, maybe you don't, stuff like that. There's also a possibility where I need to use the Light Weavers to level up. I just have to put it down for like a Fairy Whispers. So we'll kind of see what Taylor on the other end here does playing his Philo. I think
Corbin,
Taylor was also first time playing
Corbin,
Philo,
this
right?
gives you a unique opportunity to critique Steve's play like he normally critiques yours.
It does, yes.
Yeah,
because you were spectating Taylor on this, right?
Yeah, I was helping Taylor through some of the Philo lines.
Yeah, it was his like first time playing Philo or something.
really?
I remember. I think this is the game where Taylor opened like triple ally.
Okay. So, see clumsy.
Pretty standard.
Yep, pretty standard Philo stuff. We're fine with just taking one. I don't think there's a reason to use a stifle trap on it because there's way bigger threats that have higher attack totals.
Would you
Also,
ever use a stifling trap on a clumsy?
Very seldomly, but in the very first turns of the game, absolutely not. It's a 1/1 that's going to die to my Windmill Engineer. Okay, so we've got the red hair plus the unique ally. Really unfortunate. This is where I debate stifle trapping the ally because it's stealth, and I really need to stop that red hair from constantly attacking me, because that's going to get really, really painful. So I'm debating between playing Fairy Whispers and just playing the Stifle Trap. The reason I just go for the Stifle Trap here is because I want to level up, because I can already feel the pressure. So I'm taking 3 from the horse. I'm taking 1 from the clumsy. Like, if I don't level here, I'm probably dead to like a seeking materialized blazing throw into another unique ally. So unfortunately, I lose the Surveil the Winds, but I do see a Fairy Whispers. I choose to glimpse twice because rather than play the Fairy Whispers first, I want to at least guarantee that I have a wind card on top. So this way here, pre-rec, I can play this, dig 2 cards deeper. I don't really need the end cap right now because against Philo, the only things I'm going to be end capping is, Blazing Throw and like Vermilion Decree. That's about it. So I don't really care about the end cap. I need to dig deeper. I need to see allies. So I see the Sirocco, which is really good. The problem is I think I make a mistake here by playing the Sirocco without the influence to reclaim it. So obviously I keep the Fairy Whispers, put the Sirocco on top, bottom the other card, which I don't need. And then I think I play the Fairy Whispers again. Again, I know there's a wind card on there. Let's see if we dig deeper. I see double end cap. And this is where I'm realizing that this is going to end poorly for me because I need to keep 1 end cap because I'm not going to see any more if I bottom both of them. So I have to keep an end cap just in case there is a Blazing Throw lethal line. So at this point, my influence is 6. It's 1 away from being able to play Reclaim Sirocco, which would be crazy. But I do kind of need to deal with this clumsy. And I think this is the first major mistake I make in the game, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The thought is my hand was kind of garbage and did nothing, and the only way I can clear that clumsy is either getting Mercblade with the prep counter or the Sirocco. And my thought was, you know what? We'll play the Sirocco, take some heat off of myself. He's going to have to swing into the Sirocco. So whatever ally he plays, Sirocco effectively is going to heal me. This Reclaim is probably not going to get value unless I wait a turn and do nothing, which is going to hurt me anyway. Given that hand, Corbin, would you have done the same, or you would have just held up everything?
I actually might have put the Sirocco to bottom. Um, I feel like that's not something that I'm looking to keep in this match, especially without any other allies to pair with it. It's going to be tough to clear their board. I think I would have been digging for either a Sadie or an Aeson with Windmill, like something that can either do more to their board or just look for ways to get to level 3. Like dig for surveys, dig for dungeon guide, and see what the deck's giving me.
So unfortunately, he had the clumsy for the Sirocco. Funny enough, you see I draw another Reclaim. So I decide to go ahead and play the Art of War. This, in my opinion, like the Art of War didn't really do anything here. I think this should have been a GCR. I draw a Dungeon Guide, which seems great in this situation, but again, the problem is, like, do I really want to do this? I mean, right now my line I'm looking at is playing the Dungeon Guide, killing the clumsy. Well, I can't even do that because of Art of War kind of hurting me. So again, Art of War was just a poor choice here. But the line that I would play if I had gone GCR instead of Art of War would have just been Dungeon Guide, swing into the clumsy, and then reclaim the Dungeon Guide, because that's the best value I'm going to get. Because this hand, like I said, this hand's not kind of doing nothing. And this is why I think playing the Sirocco was a mistake. And even if I bottomed the Sirocco, unfortunately, the luck of the draw would not have been in my favor. So I think I'm just contemplating doing the Dungeon Guide line, but I'm really telling myself here, like, man, this kind of sucks. So
I think one of the other things, if you didn't play the Sirocco, instead of going Art of War, you would have been able to backup Charger and like stabilize more.
Yep, that is also true. I think another line here that might have been better could have been going in cap, reclaim, and then availing breeze, playing the Dungeon Guide, and then reclaiming the Dungeon Guide, and then leveling to 2. But the problem I think the problem I had was the Stifle Trap. I don't think oh no, the Stifle Trap is in there. So I think it probably was a better line to just play the Dungeon Guide and then reclaim it. So at least I can use Art of War to level up to 2 for cheap. The next problem would be, well, no, I would have Dungeon Guide. Yeah, I think this was another possible mistake. I think I was just kind of thrown off by just how poorly the draws were in this game and my absolute hatred for putting Art of War in. But I think playing Dungeon Guide and then reclaiming it was actually the right line here. You don't need to level up. You just need to. You want to put Reclaim in the bin. I need to put cards down to level up. That's the thing. Because I have 2 Light Weavers in hand. I need to hit level 3. My hand is doing jack squat right now. I did have the idea that I wanted to in-cap something to level up to put cards down and then get the in-cap back. So this was also kind of a mistake, I think. But it's kind of luck of the draw on this one. I mean, this hand is just kind of poop. I think you had questioned why I in-capped the Creative Shock at this point, Corbin. That's that's why, because I had freaking nothing going on.
So from Taylor's side, once you in-capped that, that's why we went for the reduced to ash on the Art of War, because you just went down in in-cap and it felt pretty safe.
Yeah. Like I said, I think in-capping that was greedy. I think the GCR was greedy. Because now I'm stuck materializing a backup Charger because I don't want to spend 2 to level up and have like no influence. So I finally see a Windmill Engineer, and I could start using that reclaim stuff. So we're finally getting the engine online, but I think it's a little bit too late. Thankfully, we didn't see a unique ally out of Taylor, so the red hair didn't swing. So then he goes for a nullifying mirror, and this is always terrifying because you never know, especially against an aggro deck when they materialize it. You never know if they have like that turn they're going to push 10 damage. So I have a Veiling Breeze in hand, and I'm really contemplating playing it. The idea is if I don't play it now, then it is a dead card. And if I do play it now, at the very least, I can prevent, let's say, like whatever damage that Taylor would do here. So I go for a Reclaim on the Windmill, at least get that out of the way, and then I play this Veiling Breeze. And then I'm just confident with just leveling up and just hoping I don't hit a Light Weavers. It is possible you just don't play the Veiling Breeze. You just kind of eat whatever damage you're about to eat. But once I see the mirror, I just get a little worried because if I don't have a way to stop Rending Flames, for example.
I mean, you're at 6 damage, so I think the Veiling was correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the red hair on field and a unique ally could come down at any point.
Yep. But don't pigeonhole yourselves into playing the Veiling just because someone brings it out. Like, you really got to give it thought. Like, is it worth it right now to do this, or can I afford to not play it? I think if I had Luxem sights, I probably would have still played it, given I had taken 6 damage already. If I had less damage taken, I probably wouldn't have, because I know that I could just go to level 3 and then Light Weavers to heal up.
And you would just want to keep that extra influence at that point, since it's a dead card now.
Correct, yep.
Unless you pull 2.
Yeah. But even then, that's still kind of abysmal. So, unfortunately, Arthur comes out, makes it immortal, swings just to... obviously, I'm not taking damage here, but we're swinging just to discard, fill up our bin, and dig. And then we go for a Tempered Steel, just put some float in the bin. So this way here, Philo can get a Drawn Blade or level up or something. So at this point, obviously, I need to level. Like, there's no doubt in my mind I need to level up. And I just need to hope that I don't hit a Light Weavers.
Was this Philo running Clarent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So we level up to 2. We're going to add back either a Stifle or an Incap. I forget what I get, but I think Incap's probably the right choice. Yeah, I think Incap at this point is correct. Seeing that many 3 health allies is scary. I could always Stifle and get a Merc Blade, but I don't really want to spend my turn doing that. I want to play this Dungeon Guide. I'll draw a Luxem Sight. Thank God. Finally have some options for healing. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to throw those 3 cards down that don't matter, play this Dungeon Guide, and then just kind of go to town here.
Now, once you hit level 3, do you feel a lot safer versus Philo?
Depends. Yes and no. Fire Lorraine has access to Fiery Momentum, which means at any point they can just deal like 12 damage. So I need to get Lantern out immediately. So I think after this, my very next materialization is Lantern. Because I think that Taylor has like 8 fire cards in the bin, something like that. And it's about to go up because red hair. So on board, I'm going to take 6 damage, go to 12, and he's going to end up with 9 cards in the bin, It's a very, very scary position to be in.
So do you feel that you could have been in danger of death here?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got 8 cards in the bin. I'm taking 6. He's gonna pitch 1. Rending Flame or Fire Momentum comes in for 2 plus 9 plus Sword. That's 12. Like, I'm basically dead if he has a Momentum.
Yeah, I feel like in the aggro matchups, you're usually doing more math than your opponent to see if they can kill you or not.
Yeah.
Because like I'm constantly counting like what my opponent has on board, trying to figure out what potential damage lines they have, and seeing what I have to mitigate that. And that's also one of the things with Philo materializing Mirror early. You just kind of have to take Veiling Breeze out of the equation unless you happen to find 2 at the same time.
So this is one of those situations where things like Art of War versus GCR and things like not playing that Sirocco when I did and maybe waiting a turn could have resulted in me having 5 cards in hand right now, which would have felt way better. Because one of the things that you'll notice here is I don't have a way to put these Luxem cards down into my memory unless Taylor plays a card that I get to end cap. So the 2 options I have is I have to end cap something to put Luxem cards down, or I have to go for a Blinding Orb to draw a card to go to 5 cards in hand and then play a Lightweaver's prereq in response to Xander trigger. So
I think you also have backup charger available at this point as well.
I
Right?
don't.
Or have you? Oh, you've already gone for it.
Yeah, the power cell's already out. So there's like those
Yeah, so
small decisions really hurt you in this deck more so than in Fire Luxem, because Fire Luxem could just bring out Insignia. I don't have that. So Taylor got the Clarent. Clarent is not the end of the world. Clarent just slows me down by a little bit. The other problem is I haven't seen Slice and Dice really. So again, these draws, this game was pretty shite, but you know we're trying to power through it at least and claw our way back. There is a line where I can kill with Lightweavers even through Clarent, because each turn he's going to have to use Clarent to protect his allies or protect his face. Here in my opinion, I think this is wrong. I think spending a Clarent charge just to play clumsy for not hurting yourself is just incorrect. But that could just be a knee-jerk reaction. So thankfully we didn't die this turn. And this is where I'm really sitting there like, well, I need to bring out Nullifying, but if I bring out Nullifying, I can't kill what's on board. And I need to kill what's on board and I need to start healing. So at this point, I'm thinking I have to lose what's down here, get a Blinding Orb, play a Blinding Orb, and then just go for the Lightweavers play. Also, playing the Lightweavers will kind of force out the Clarent, because obviously Taylor's going to want to protect his Arthur or protect his red hair. So we're going for the Blinding Orb here, see if Taylor has anything in response. Funny enough, if you didn't use the Clarent on the Clumsy, you go to 7. There is a possibility, like you're gonna have to use it on your face at some point, because when I go for the Lightweaver's prereq, I'm gonna deal 4 damage to face, put you to, if you had taken 2 from the Clumsy, I'll put you to 11, reveal Lightweavers, put you to 13, reveal Lightweavers, put you to 15, and then play another Lightweavers, and then swing with Dungeon Guide. So like you would die had you wasted your Clarent charges on the ally. Right here, I think I make a huge mistake. This is probably the biggest mistake I make in the entire game. Is Taylor goes for a creative shock, and I unga bunga think time to end cap, put Luxem cards down. Can you pause here? I think if I didn't go for the end cap play and I just said, you know what, you can have your creative shock, that's fine. If I play the Lightweaver's prereq, because Clarent only has 2 charges on it, like there's a very real possibility that I just draw lethal, or just have lethal, or a way to kill Taylor the following turn. Because what ends up happening is I play the Lightweaver's prereq. Lightweavers doesn't target. You have to use Clarent. If you use Clarent on your face, you're not protecting your allies. And you kind of have to, at this point, use Clarent on your face. The other thing is, obviously, I drew a Luxem site, which would have been phenomenal to reveal 2 Luxem sites this turn. So you can press play, Corbin, and keep it going. So anyway, I go for a really greedy in cap line here. I reveal Lightweaver's Assault, and I reveal Luxem Sight. And then I think there was some question on nullifying or targeting, which Lightweavers doesn't target. So Clarent has to be played in response. Taylor chooses not to, so I just ping the Arthur and then kill the Arthur. And then I draw and uncover the plot. So like at this point, I'm really regretting playing the end cap, because had I not played this end cap, I would be in a phenomenal position, because all I would have, like, I would still have 5 cards in hand. I could play the uncover the plot. I could hold up the end cap while revealing double Luxem Sight. and the game would, unless he drew a fiery momentum, the game would be over. Like the following turn, the game would more or less be over. So at this point, I'm just really regretting my decisions. And whoever's in control of the video can like skip through this. You
I
could
think
probably,
this is where we're just talking about lines here.
yeah, you can skip ahead to like 24 minutes, the 24-minute mark. But this was just discussing the difference between holding up Light Weavers versus playing Uncover the Plot, because both of them effectively heal me 6. At the end of the day, I believe the following turn it didn't matter because Taylor drew momentum plus a blazing throw, which, as I mentioned, had I gone for the draw first, play the Light Weavers, and then hold up the end cap. This is 23 minutes, so this is close enough. But
my phone is still at 21 minutes.
Oh, well, it's showing 23 here for me at
Man,
least.
why did it give Corbin host? You got crappy internet, dude.
Dude, I don't know.
All right. Yeah, unfortunately, Taylor finds a momentum and blazing throw, which is actually exact lethal. Again, even through my healing. So this was just kind of a really unfortunate situation where I made a series of minor misplays, which I think really showcases just how nuanced this deck is. Because had I not made some of those minor mistakes earlier on, and even at the very end, I would probably have won this game. So we're going into game 2. I am shuffling everything back in. Let me get back to where we start here. There we go. All right. So game 2 goes a lot differently. Game 2, I see a really good early game curve. And I think game 2 comes down to a materialization decision, as Corbin alluded to earlier, where materializing cards is really important in this deck. So we draw our cards. We see the beautiful reclaims plus windmills. We are Sean. We are good players here. And then I see a turbocharge, and I'm just like, oh man, this is going to be good. So one of the things to keep in mind when playing against fire, especially if you have windmill reclaim, is they could be playing Vermilion Decree to deal 3 damage to you, 2 damage to the reclaim target. There is a case to be said that you should play the reclaim on the windmill regardless. Maybe I'm wrong. My opinion is I don't care if you Vermilion it, because I'm forcing you to play a Vermilion Decree in a situation where maybe you don't draw. But I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. I'm curious of your thoughts, Corbin.
I think it depends on how good their opening is and what they're going for. Like if they play an ally and swing into windmill, I think it's always right to reclaim and force it out of them. If they don't, and you're just going to play the reclaim to level up, I think there's a case to be made where you just let the windmill sit on field and maybe either level up with your memory, or like given how good your hand is here, just play another windmill and start poking them in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember what happens here, but I feel like I think this is one of those games where you could run it back a few times and take different lines in each of them, and each game would turn out differently.
Yeah, it's always a tricky call, because like had I played Reclaim and just put the windmill back, you can't Vermilion Decree it. And maybe the argument is you can Vermilion Decree your face, and they're going to Vermilion Decree your face anyway, so why let them get the value on the windmill? I think that's a solid argument. But my case would be like, hey, I'm glad you're going -1 influence because my windmill replaced itself, and you're not playing an ally. That's my philosophy, at least. So here comes the hasty. I think the hasty is going to check the windmill. You always have to check the reclaim. So he's going for the hasty into the reclaim, to check for the reclaim. Obviously, I have it. And then in response, he is going to play a Vermilion Decree here after he figures out how to do things properly and not play cards that he drew off the hasty. So there comes the Vermilion. So that's fine by me. Like I said, I'm glad you're not playing a ally. The only thing that scares me is the Honed by Fire, because that means an early Rending Flames could just annihilate me. So we see the glimpse, we see a Veiling Breeze and a Cry for Help. Let me slow this back down to normal because Taylor's done taking 5 hours to decide. So we see a Veiling Breeze and a Cry for Help. Cry for Help's pretty good. Veiling Breeze is also pretty good. Cry for Help is phenomenal here because I have 3 weenies that are just going to redirect attacks. So I'm going to draw into memory here. I don't need the Cry for Help as much as I need the Veiling Breeze right now, mostly because I'm not in threat of dying from a momentum. I need to redirect a momentum. I don't need to redirect a Rending Flames right now. I have Veiling for that. So I go for a simple line, play the Windmill, hold up another Reclaim, get a Merc Blade, clear off the Hasty, and things are looking pretty good. Like at this point in the game, things are looking pretty damn good. The only issue is I do not have a Assassin card in the graveyard to get back with Xander level 2. And I might tunnel into that a little bit here, but at the same time, it's it's not bad to just play a Veiling to prevent 4 damage to your face on their turn just to recur it. I mean, you have to think you're trading off 4 life for 1 prep counter. So at this point, I'm going to put the Veiling down because he played a Zhao Kao or whatever that cat girl's name is. Try for the Reclaim, get hit with the Vermilion again, which I think I'm fine with. I'm still sitting pretty good on Influence. And then at this point, I'm debating getting out Nullifying, Backup Charger, Xander level 2. I believe I go for a Nullifying Lantern here, just because I am a little worried at this point with the Rending. So we'll get that out early. I don't have an in cap. That is my only issue. Is I don't have an in cap if he has a reduce. So an alternative line here is you don't need the Lantern right away. You could go for a backup charger, play the backup charger, then play the turbo charge, and then just level up. So I think I just go for a Fairy Whispers here just to put 1 down so I can level up using my float. And then I see a Luxem site and a Scout the Lands. I don't need Windmills anymore. I need the Scout the Lands to dig a little deeper. And obviously I'm going to need this Luxem site here in a second. And if anything stands out to you, Corbin, as far as what I'm doing right now, would you disagree or agree with the Lantern materialization? Corbin?
How many fire in his grave right now?
4.
Yeah, so we'd see the creative. So creative plus whatever he discards makes it 6. So then with fiery momentum and a weapon, he's threatening 9 damage. So that only brings you to 15. So I don't think I would have gone Lantern
Well,
yet.
the Hone by
because
Fire effectively gives it 3.
the 3, that still puts you to 18.
Forge Light Blade.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I have a Veiling Breeze like that. Maybe Lantern there was a little greedy, but I don't get punished for it. But I think maybe Lantern might have been wrong.
Yeah, I think this is one of those. I think that would have been a really good opportunity to ring as well if you had
On
ring
ring,
instead of
yeah.
Art of
Yep.
War.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree completely. If I had ring instead of Art of War, I would have gone ring. So we go for a backup charger because Taylor's being a little slow. Obviously, I know in his hand he's got Creative Shocks and Honed by Fires. So now I see all the cards that I really want to see. I don't need double veiling right now because when the mirror comes out, I'm just gonna veiling in response so I don't just get booty blasted. We see another reclaim. So at this point, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to play a Veiling Breeze just to prevent some stuff. I'm going to recur the Veiling Breeze back when I level to 2, and we'll just kind of go from there. So we're going to speed this up a little bit. So Taylor's just going to play a Creative Shock, keep digging. He needs to see a reduced Ash. Can't play Momentums, can't play Rendings. So he's debating getting a Clarent here, which is totally fine. Get the early prevention up, and also have a Spell Shroud weapon, which is always nice. So reclick draws here, just hits me for 1. That's fine. Obviously, I'm hoping to see a dungeon guide with my scout at the lands. So he swings for 1 here. I'm going to play a Veiling Breeze because my thought is I want to get this Veiling Breeze back. There's no sense in not playing it because right now, if he starts playing allies, my 1 prep counter that I would have otherwise gotten by not getting a card back. See, like I would have taken 4 damage here, 5 damage if you count the sword. Like I would have taken 5 damage had I not played that Veiling Breeze, knowing that I'm just going to get it back. So that 1 prep counter that I wouldn't have here turned into preventing 5 damage, which is really good. So prereq, we're just going to go for a Scout the Lands. We're going to really see how our next turns are lining up, what I got to do to hit level 3. I see now these Scout the Lands you can't put to the bottom. So I have to organize this in a way that's going to help me casually get to level 3. And I am thinking Sadie's definitely got to be up on on card number 1 or 2. I need that Sadie, and I need to figure out how to kill the red hair at this point. So my thought process is I'm going to play a windmill, and then I'm going to play a Sadie. Just kill that red hair, and then level up to level 3, and we should be good to go. So scout the land. I should draw.
And I know we're talking a lot about the Philo matchup.
Wait a second. Did I not draw from the Scout the Land? Please tell me I realized that I didn't draw from the Scout the Land.
I don't think you did.
Oh my god. Oh, that would have changed this game so much.
Oh my goodness. Even the Stevo makes simple mistakes.
Yeah, because I should have seen a Sadie. Wow. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Well, now I know why this played out the way that it did. Because there's a Sadie on top of the deck here. That Sadie should have been drawn, and that red hair would be dead right now. Oh my lord. Well, we make do with what happened and what we have. So I just go for a Veiling Breeze in response to the mirror materialization. And oh boy, wow.
That's a warning, Steve.
Yeah. That's crazy. Because like I said, the idea was play windmill, play Sadie, kill the red hair, keep 3 cards down to level up, play Sadie if needed to level up. Wow. Well, always remember to read your cards and actually perform their actions. So we should be hitting level 3 here after Taylor's done playing his turn. I did play a Veiling Breeze, so obviously none of this damage is going to hit me. And I do have an in cap in memory and an in cap in hand. So at this point, reduced to ash is not looking terrifying. See, that's the other thing too. I would have, because I think leveling up to 3 here, I lose an in cap. And had I kept the in caps, I would have been fine. Yeah, wow. So we're gonna recollect. No Xander reveals. We're gonna draw a Lightweaver's Assault because I think I put Sadie in the worst possible position. I should have put Sadie at the very top. I don't know what the heck I was thinking about. Because now I'm thinking, well, I have to play this Sirocco to put 3 Luxem cards in. I do get to hold up the Cry for Help. What is my next materialization? Like, had I not screwed that up, I would be able to more accurately decide what to banish to get out an Assassin's Ripper. Because at this point, my Assassin's Ripper is going to deal 6 damage over the course of the next 5 turns. Somehow, some way, I'm going to hit for 3 and then hit for 3. And this Lightweavers will help push that lethal range. So I think that is a massive mistake there.
Well, we're just severely disappointed in you.
I'm disappointed in myself. I can't believe I did that.
I mean, it also looks like you corrected for that because you put the Lightweavers back and pulled out the Sadie previously if you roll it back. But Yeah, not drawing is definitely what's going to cost you this game.
Double home by fire on the Clarent just to kind of push more damage. That's all fine. Like we're happy here taking 9 damage. Sure, you'll put me to 17, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to heal it all back. Another 1. Yep, swings for 5 with the Clarent. And then luckily no Arthur yet. Goes for a blazing throw. Oh, that's right, because the blazing throw forces out my end cap. So this is where had I organized the scout properly and actually drew off of it, I would have a second end cap for a reduced dash right now. Luckily, we don't get hit with the third blazing throw. So we're still kind of sitting pretty. I think this was also another mistake, and I'll pause this here. This was another mistake where I should have probably put down the Sirocco operative and cry for help and maybe got out in the Assassin's Ripper at this point. Maybe. Just because, again, I want to be able to get the Ripper out without banishing my Luxem cards. Sadie's going to help me do that, but with Clarent up, it's going to be a little bit harder to kill that red hair. So we're going to reveal the Luxem sites. We're going to recover. We're going to draw that Light Weavers. And now we're going to try to kill the red hair, which we should be able to do. Terrafring is also not bad. Terrafring is obviously free materialization. It's going to slow him down a little bit. So we're just playing the game of survive, hope he doesn't draw Reduce the Ash, and kill him with the Light Weavers or kill him with a Slice and Dice if we can get there, because Sadie's going to slowly start getting us prep counters at this point.
I don't think we've ever talked about this, but that's another reason why I really like Uncover the Plot in here, is the prep counters like feel useful, unlike in like traditional Xander, where you can use your prep counters early for like ensnaring fumes and then uncover and go back up to 3 and Slice and Dice is live again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Uncover is real nice. Gleaming Cut sucks. Clearly. All right, so we do get the red hair out of the way. I see that I haven't Uncover the Plot, and I'm just sitting there chuckling to myself, like, man, this is I'm king of the world right now. Little do I know. So we'll kind of pick everything back up. We'll leave one of the Luxem sites down. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to bounce Sadie back to put the Luxem cards down. I think we pop the Terrafring just to really slow everything down in case I do get hit with the Reduced Ash momentum. I don't know if Terrafring is necessarily right or wrong here. Like, maybe, like, this definitely is a low value Terrafring. So there could have been a time where I used this at a better point. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to matter because my Lantern will get reduced, momentum will come, and Terrafring will probably not buy me a turn in those situations, just because the influence required to play reduce and momentum, Taylor's going to space it out if he can, or he'll play it like prereq or something like that. So he finds another freaking red hair, hits me for 3, pays 2, hits me for another 1 to kill the operative, I think. Which is absolutely the right call. So here, I'm just going to grab a Safeguard Amulet, because, again, I'm running out of things to materialize. And at this point, I really had hoped that I was able to get out a Assassin's Ripper, because now I'm starting to reveal the Light Weavers, and Clarent has to defend the red hair. Otherwise, Sadie is going to kill the red hair. So makes the right call to protect both the allies, because you can't protect the red hair and not the Chow Cow, because if you don't protect the cat girl, then I kill the cat girl and you can't attack with the red hair. So we start pinging his face. I finally see a Slice and Dice, and I'm like, this is really good. I really like this. We're going to go for an Uncover the Plot. Like you said, get our prep counters back. I think I make the mistake of playing a Slice and Dice after Uncover the Plot just to kill the red hair. I think honestly it doesn't matter. I think I should have just played the Uncover the Plot. Like actually, this would be a prime example of playing the Terrafring the previous turn, because I had Sadie out with Cry for Help. So if I did get reduced to Ashed and I Cry for Help onto Sadie, I'm totally fine with that. But again, as we're realizing, my big issue is not being able to materialize this Assassin's Ripper. Actually, I'm wondering if I just straight up make a mistake by just not banishing any of the Luxem cards anyway. I'm debating putting down 2 just to get the Light Weavers into memory, just to play the Slice and Dice. I think this is wrong. So at this point, I go for the Slice and Dice, which I think is just wrong, like I said.
I think one of the other things, like as you're looking for Assassin's Ripper line, like using the ensnaring fumes,
Yep.
like lets you get the floating in the yard, and then either Ripper or Blinding Orb, whichever one.
I was gonna go into the, like, that was the next line which I had, which was just playing the ensnaring fumes. I couldn't hard cast it though. I think that was my problem. Was I couldn't hard cast it, and if I used the alternative cost, then obviously I couldn't Slice and Dice. A lot of the end of this game is really just both of us sitting here waiting till he draws a reduced Ash, because I don't have an in cap. So really, the end of this game is just me not, like, I made the mistake by playing the Slice and Dice. The moment I played the Slice and Dice, this game is basically a waiting game. It's just going to take too long for me to kill him. So I think the next following 3 turns, I'm just sitting here looking at my material deck like, man, I really don't want to materialize anything.
Lost connection. Now it's on Corbin again.
All right. Well, we could just leave it as is, running at 2 speed. So reveal the Light Weavers, reveal the Luxem sites. Clarent can be used, doesn't have to be. Obviously, I've got Sadie that I'm going to play here. So I'm going to pick off the Chow Cow. I'm going to play the Sadie. I do draw Surveil the Winds, which is really good. I decide to keep a Light Weavers just in case. Go for the Agility, pick all other things back up. I now have 6 cards in hand, so I can play the Ensnaring Fumes for the Assassin's Ripper. But, like we're looking at now, Corbin, I don't really have the prep counters to do so, and it doesn't even matter at this point. Because Slice and Dice is gone. So at this point, Assassin's Ripper is my thought. Like, I just need to deal damage. So Reduce finally comes out, and then I get hit with a momentum that would kill me, so I have to play Cry for Help, and then I have to bounce Sadie. Again, I think I make the mistake of putting down the Luxem cards when I probably should have put down other cards just to get this Assassin's Ripper. I really need to start doing chip damage to him, and I just can't get that done with the current game state and with banishing my Luxem cards.
What was that attack coming in for?
Oh god, it was coming in for like 25. It would have just killed me outright.
Oh, I think it was 24 plus the sword.
His bin is that big.
Oh my god, yeah. The game's been going on way longer than it should have been. So finally I get another Ensnaring Fumes. I'm like, all right, well, maybe I just play the Ensnaring Fumes after the Sadie. Play the Sadie. And Sadie probably should be hitting face. Like, I think I should have been playing Sadie to hit face. I'm holding up the Light Weaver's Assault just to see if I get hit for like a Rending Flames for a lot. Maybe I can recover from it. Unfortunately, he's got 20 in the bin, leveled up to 2, so he gets the +2 damage. Momentum has 2 base. Clarent has 1, and there's 20 fire cards. So this next momentum is gonna come in for 25 again, which is just gonna kill me outright, and I can't do anything about it. So both of these games, I think, were perfect examples of knowing what to materialize and how nuanced it can be, because both of these games I should have won. Game 2 should have been way more winnable. I just didn't draw off Scout and I didn't play the Sadie properly. But both games were winnable. Both games were absolutely winnable. It was just a very, very tough decision to make, and it's not so blatantly obvious. I mean, hell, even present Steve, when Steve was playing, Steve didn't even get it right. Future Steve realized the mistakes, but hindsight's 20/20. So that just shows, I guess, hopefully a good example of how complicated this deck is. and even your harder matchups are definitely winnable, even in dire situations.
Would you consider the Philo matchup to be pretty difficult?
Right now, I would say it's definitely harder than most, but the more I play against it, the easier it becomes.
Right.
Philo's just been out of the meta for so long. It's just trying to get back into the swing of things and just remember what they're capable of, what you have to deal with, and honestly, proper materializations. Like, I think some fundamentals were missed here on both these games, which happens, but I discussed in the lines, like, you can definitely win these games. The cry for help definitely saved my ass on the one, but it wasn't necessarily the reason I lost or would have won that game. Cry for help would have helped, but the reason I lost or would have won that game was because of my own nuanced lines that I just didn't do right.
Well, I feel that even seeing games that ended up with the deck losing, like you said, do show just how nuanced the deck is to play and how much you have to think about every single little line. Corbin, do you have any final remarks regarding this deck before we wrap up here?
I think like yes, there is a lot of little things, and just with anything in Grand Archive, like the more you practice and play a deck, the more you're going to start seeing all those little decisions like come together, and you'll piece them together faster. The deck's a ton of fun to play. I would recommend like anyone who likes level 3 decks and like just toolboxy kits should definitely try playing it.
Well, I want to thank both of you for going over your regional winning decks. I want to scold Steve for making so many obvious play mistakes. My goodness, Steve.
I'm scolding past me, honestly. I didn't realize I didn't draw from that scout, which would have made a world of difference. And like game 1 was definitely a more challenging one. But man, looking at like watching those games, like I want to strangle myself. That was so dumb.
Yeah, get the belt on yourself, man.
I do all the time, trust me.
That is a kink we didn't need to know about. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. We'll have more of these in-depth deck analysis and gameplays coming throughout the next few months. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any feedback or questions you have, and we'll address them in the next episode. You two have a great evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, are you leaving so soon? I hope you found what you were looking for. Please be sure to return. We'd love to have you back.